Number the Day Deathworlders Turned Fierce. Part 3. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in the organization's thousand-year history. Representatives from 47 species filled the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, their voices creating a cacophony of fear, anger, and disbelief as they debated Commander Zixthala's report. "Impossible," bellowed Representative Gorth, his massive bulk quivering with indignation. "A pre-warp species cannot have superior sensor technology. These humans are clearly lying to gain some advantage." "Then explain this," Zixthala said calmly, activating the holographic display at the chamber's center. The images Admiral Chen had shown her appeared in three-dimensional detail, the Devourers systematically consuming star after star, converting entire solar systems into incomprehensible organic structures. The chamber fell silent. Several representatives stepped backward involuntarily as the massive, writhing shapes moved through the projection like living nightmares. "Our deep space monitoring arrays confirm it," announced Chief Scientist Veltar, her crystalline form chiming nervously as she spoke. "The humans were right. These Devourers are real. They've consumed 19 star systems in the past month alone. They're accelerating." The chamber erupted again. But this time, the voices carried panic instead of anger. Species that had known only peace for centuries were suddenly faced with the reality of extinction. High Chancellor Mordain, the elected leader of the council, raised his forearms for silence. The ancient Valdorian's skin had gone pale gray, a sign of deep distress. "Even accepting that this threat is real," he said carefully, "the human demands are unacceptable. They want us to surrender command of our fleets to a species we met 3 days ago. It's madness." "Is it more mad than facing extinction because we're too proud to accept help?" Zixthala asked. "I've studied their history, Chancellor. These humans have been fighting extinction-level threats their entire existence. Climate disasters, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, global pandemics. They've survived everything their own planet could throw at them. If anyone knows how to fight for survival, it's them." Representative Kavash of the Hegemony Worlds hissed through his breathing slits. "You speak as if warfare were something admirable, Commander. We abandoned such primitive behaviors millennia ago. And that," said a new voice from the chamber's entrance, "is exactly why you're going to lose." Every head turned as Admiral Sarah Chen walked into the chamber, flanked by 2 other humans in what their files identified as military uniforms. The humans moved with the same predatory grace Zixthala had observed on Platform 7. But here, surrounded by dozens of alien species, their presence was even more striking. "How dare you!" High Chancellor Mordain rose to his full height, towering over the humans. "This is a closed session of the Galactic Council. Humans are not members of this body." "Not yet," Chen replied calmly, apparently unbothered by being surrounded by angry aliens, some of whom were twice her size. "But given the circumstances, I thought you might want to hear what we've learned since our last conversation." Without waiting for permission, Chen activated her own holographic projector. The images that appeared made the previous ones look like pleasant vacation pictures. 4 hours ago, she announced, the Devourers reached the Kepler 442 system. It was inhabited by a pre-spaceflight species, about 6 billion individuals who had just developed radio technology. The hologram showed a planet much like Earth, with blue oceans and green continents. As the assembled representatives watched in horror, massive organic shapes descended from space like a plague of locusts. Within minutes, the planet's surface was covered in writhing biomass that consumed everything in its path. The conversion process took 17 minutes, Chen continued, her voice clinical and detached. The Devourers absorbed not just the biomass, but the mineral content of the planet itself. They're not just eating living things, they're consuming entire worlds. The chamber was deathly quiet now. Several representatives were visibly shaking. "But that's not the worst part," Chen said. "Watch what happens next." The biomass covering the planet began to pulse and change. Massive structures erupted from the surface, reaching toward space like grasping fingers, and from these structures, New shapes emerged, sleeker, faster versions of the original devourers. They're reproducing, Dr. Vorth whispered from the science section. Each consumed world makes them stronger. And faster, Chen confirmed. Our analysis suggests they're operating on an accelerating timeline. What took them months to accomplish in the outer systems, they're now doing in days. High Chancellor Mordain had sunk back into his seat, his forearms hanging limply. How long do we have? Best case scenario, assuming they maintain current acceleration patterns? 6 months before they reach the core worlds of Council space, Chen replied. Worst case? 3 months. The mathematical reality hit the chamber like a physical blow. The Galactic Council represented thousands of worlds, trillions of sentient beings. The idea that all of it could be gone within half a year was beyond comprehension. What do you propose? Chancellor Mordain asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chen touched her communicator, and the chamber's display shifted to show a new image, a massive fleet of human warships unlike anything in their previous intelligence reports. These weren't the crude vessels they had detected during first contact. These were sleek, deadly machines that looked like they had been designed by nightmares. For the past 6 months, while you've been debating whether to make contact with us, we've been preparing for war, Chen announced. Every shipyard in human space has been working around the clock. We've militarized our entire civilization. Representative Gorth struggled to his feet. You've been building a war fleet in secret. This is exactly why we can't trust you. You can't trust us? Chen's voice carried a dangerous edge now. We detected an extinction-level threat and prepared to fight it while you sat here debating diplomatic protocols. We're offering to help save your civilization, and you're complaining about trust? Another human stepped forward, a younger man with scars across half his face and cybernetic implants where his left eye should have been. I'm General Marcus Torres, he announced. I command the Earth Defense Fleet. Admiral Chen asked me to brief you on what fighting the Devourers actually means. The display changed again, showing tactical analysis of Devourer combat capabilities. The numbers were terrifying. They don't use technology as we understand it, Torres explained. No shields, no weapons, no navigation systems. They are the weapons. Each one is a living warship, with regenerative capabilities that make them nearly impossible to destroy with conventional tactics. Nearly impossible? Zixthala asked. We've found their weakness, Torres said with the first smile anyone had seen from a human since first contact. They're biological, which means they're vulnerable to biological warfare. Specifically, they're vulnerable to Earth-based pathogens that they've never encountered before. The implications sent a chill through the chamber. Earth's biosphere was legendary among xenobiologists for its aggressive, adaptable life forms. The idea of weaponizing that evolutionary arms race was both brilliant and terrifying. You want to use your planet's diseases as weapons? Representative Kavash hissed in apparent disgust. We want to use every advantage we have to keep them from eating the galaxy, Torres replied. But that's just the beginning. The real war won't be won with weapons. It'll be won with the willingness to do whatever it takes to survive. Chen stepped forward again. The Devourers aren't interested in negotiation, diplomacy, or coexistence. They're interested in consumption. To fight them, you need to become something they didn't expect to find, not prey, but predators. High Chancellor Mordain looked around the chamber at his fellow representatives. Fear was written on every face, in every posture. These were beings who had known peace for so long they had forgotten how to even conceive of total war. If we accept your assistance, he said slowly, what guarantees do we have that humanity won't simply replace the Devourers as a threat to galactic peace? Chen's laugh was sharp and bitter. Chancellor, look around you. Your people are terrified of a fight they haven't even started yet. Do you really think we'd have any trouble conquering you if that's what we wanted? The brutal honesty of the statement was like a slap across the chamber. It was true, and everyone knew it. The humans had already demonstrated technological capabilities the Council hadn't suspected, and they had been preparing for war while the Council debated. But, Chen continued, her tone softening slightly, that's not what we want. We want to join your community, contribute to it, learn from it. But first, we need to make sure there's a community left to join. The chamber fell silent again as the representatives contemplated their options. Finally, Chancellor Mordain spoke. What would you need from us? Full integration of our fleets. Admiral Chen replied immediately. Shared intelligence networks. And most importantly, you need to accept that the age of peace is over. At least temporarily. We're going to teach your people how to fight. And some of you aren't going to like what you learn about yourselves. Over the following days, the transformation began. Human military advisors arrived at every major council world, bringing with them a completely different philosophy of survival. Where council species had learned to avoid conflict, humans had learned to win it. The results were shocking. Latent aggressive instincts that had been suppressed for millennia began to surface in species across the galaxy. The peaceful Valdorians discovered they had a talent for tactical analysis. The gentle hegemony worlds proved surprisingly effective at guerrilla warfare. Even the crystalline scientists revealed an unexpected capacity for strategic thinking. But it was the humans who truly shocked everyone. When the first Devourer probe ships reached the outer edges of Council space, they encountered something unprecedented in their expansion across the galaxy: effective resistance. The Battle of Proxima Centauri lasted 18 hours and ended with the complete destruction of a Devourer scout force. The galaxy watched in amazement as human tactics, combined with Council technology, proved that the invaders were not invincible. But the real surprise came in the aftermath. As the Council species celebrated their first victory, the humans were already planning the counterattack. We're not just going to stop them, General Torres announced at the victory briefing. We're going to hunt them down. Every last one. It was a declaration of total war from a species that had never known total peace. And as the Devourers discovered when the combined fleets of humanity and the Galactic Council began their systematic extermination campaign, some things in the universe were more dangerous than planet-eating monsters. Some things had evolved on death worlds. The galaxy had trembled when the Devourers came, but now the Devourers would learn what it meant to face creatures that had been forged in the fires of the most dangerous world in the universe, Earth. The Deathworlders had turned fierce, and the galaxy would never be the same.